Hello YouTube, this is Dino with Dino Financial, and today we're going to be doing a video review of the IWC Portuguese 3714. This is the iconic chronograph model in the IWC lineup. It's pretty much what everyone recognizes IWC for, is the pilot watches and the Portuguese chronograph. So this particular reference model I picked up in Japan actually last year, which you guys can find details of on my website. And I picked this up in Shinjuku actually, and I bought this for about 540,000 yen, which at the time was around 4,800, $5,000 Canadian, which is the equivalent of about $4,000 US. And I picked this up full set, box papers and everything, and it's been on my wrist pretty much every day since I came back from Japan. So in terms of the design of this watch, it's absolutely classic. What you have here is, you have here on the 3 o'clock marker, you have the IWC Schaffhausen logo. On the 9 o'clock, you have the chronograph automatic. So you kind of have symmetry all along this watch. Like everywhere in this watch, there's symmetry in the watch, and it looks absolutely stunning. And then you also have two subdials. Here at the 12 o'clock marker, you have the minutes counter for the chronograph, and at the 6 o'clock marker you have the seconds hand, and that's for the actual watch itself is timed here. So this is the actual seconds hand. So the chronograph is actually found on this pinion here, and if I was to start it by pressing the top pusher, you can see how smooth it runs. It's just absolutely beautiful. I'm always at a loss for words when I put on this watch, because the proportions on this watch is just stunning. So to obviously start the chronograph, you just press that pusher up at the top. To stop the chronograph, you just press it again. You can start it again by hitting it again, or you can reset it by just pressing in this bottom pusher. So in terms of the dial itself, so this case is actually 40.9 mils across. Looks a lot bigger in person than it does in pictures. And the reason for that is actually because of the bezel. So as you can see here, the bezel is very, very thin. It's almost as if it's not there. And that really grows the dial. Like from a visual perspective, when you see this dial up front, it looks massive. Like if you put this right beside like a Speedmaster Man on the Moon or anything like that, you'll notice right away, even though they have the same case dimensions. Now the other thing too about the dial itself is it's silver blasted, so it's got like this kind of metallic sheen to it. So when the light hits it at a certain angle, the whole dial just kind of radiates, especially if you have like a spotlight right on top of it, like at a dealer or whatever. It just kind of has not really a sunburst effect, but like a really, almost like if you were going to the beach on a sunny day and you were just to look at the sand, it just kind of just shines and radiates outwards. It's very hard to describe what they've done with this dial, but it's absolutely beautiful. The minutes, hours, seconds, all the markers actually are beautiful. It's, I believe it's like superheated steel or titanium or something, where it's not painted blue, it's actually been heat treated to the point where it's kind of taken on this really dark shade of blue here. Let me just get this into focus. There we go. And then in terms of the Arabic numerals that you have on the hour indicators, these are all applied markers, so it looks absolutely phenomenal. It gives it a nice little pop on the dial, rather than, you know, a marker that's been printed on. It would just look a little bit flat. So in this case, it's got a really nice 3D effect to it. In terms of the markers, you can see here the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock has been cut off, and a lot of people have kind of divided opinions on this, but me personally, I love that kind of detail and attention to detail, specifically because this is a real throwback to the pocket watches of, you know, the 1920s, where they actually had the 6s and the 12s well, more specifically the 6 o'clock marker, cut off because of the seconds hand subdial. So this is kind of like a blend of both modern and old, and it combines both design elements beautifully into a single watch. Now, in terms of the lugs are polished, as you can see here, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. The lugs taper downwards again. So even though this watch isn't necessarily the thinnest watch, because of the way the case has been designed, because of the way you can see here how it comes outwards, when it's on your wrist, it actually wears a lot thinner than what it looks. So I know in this video right now it looks kind of thick, but I'm gonna put it on my wrist, and you guys will be able to see exactly how it looks on the wrist as well. In terms of the crystal itself, it's a domed sapphire crystal, so it's a little bit hard to see here, but there's a little bit of a convex shape here on the dome, and it really looks phenomenal when you look at it on like a corner or at an angle, because of the dome effect. As you can see here, kind of gives it like a beautiful macro shot. You know, like this isn't just the camera doing this. This is how it actually looks. And the anti-reflective coating on this is absolutely spot on. When you look at it straight on, it's as if there isn't a crystal there. In terms of the case, you also do have brushed accents as well. You have brushed accents on the side of the watch. So the polished parts are just in the top part of the lugs, the bezel, the pushers, and the back of the case. Here you have the crown as well. This kind of hard to focus here, but this is the Probus icon. So some of the older models, in case you're looking through the IWC Portuguese, is they have like a fish on it, but the more recent models has the IWC Probus logo on it. So in terms of the back of the case, let me hide my serial number. So you have a brushed finish here on the case back, and you also have like a contrast with the polished accents where the International Watch Co. is located, and it actually gives it a really nice look to it. Now, if my only complaint about this watch is I wish that they had a case back on this, so that you can admire the movement. But then again, this watch does use the ETA Valjoux 7750 movement, so they've modified it, of course. But what you'll find from a lot of watch aficionados or people out there is they'll complain that this uses an ETA movement. This does retail for about $9,000, and to be honest, it really saves a lot in terms of servicing costs, because the cost to service ETA watch, like you can bring this to any watchmaker and they can service it. Of course, you do have a problem with the Portuguese model, being that they have a power transfer mechanism to move the seconds hand to the bottom 6 o'clock position on the dial, which is different from every 7750 out there. If you look at comparable homages to the IWC here, you have the Hamilton Jazzmaster Maestro. You also have a couple other watches as well. You have the Breitling as well that uses the 7750, and they don't have the seconds hand at the 6 o'clock marker. So in terms of the straps, I just have the OEM strap here, which is a blue croc. It's absolutely lovely. I adore it. It's the finish of it, the quality of it is absolutely superb. In terms of the clasp itself, you have a single fold deployment clasp. The same thing as the Entrepreneur review as well. Like the case and finishing of IWCs is up there with the best of all the brands out there. So this watch is definitely one of the top contenders in terms of case finish and quality. So let's just put this one on the wrist right now and see what it looks like. So I wear these actually very, very thin because I have a pretty small wrist, 6.5 inch. So you can see here, this is the wrist shot, and you can see what I mean by the case actually being a lot bigger than what is advertised. And you can see how nicely it just sits on my wrist. And I have a smaller wrist, and this thing just absolutely sings. So you can see here the way the lug system is designed, how it tapers downwards. just makes it hug very, very close to the wrist. And as you can see here, it's not thick at all. Like when you saw it earlier when it was off my wrist, it looked very thick. But you can see here, it just kind of folds inwards and it just absolutely brings the watch to life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. I will be doing more watch reviews from my collection. And thanks for watching.